New disturbing details of a Christmas Day tragedy on the Nature Coast. Bodies of two missing divers, a father and son, have been recovered.
It was Christmas Day 2013, a time for joy, celebration, and family. But for one father and his teenage son, the holiday would become a nightmare. What was supposed to be a thrilling underwater adventure turned into a desperate fight for survival, deep inside one of the world's most treacherous caves. Trapped 230 feet below the surface, their oxygen running out, father and son faced an impossible battle against time. This is the tragic story of Darren Spivey and Dylan Sanchez, a Christmas gift that led to disaster. For 35-year-old Darren Spivey and his 15-year-old son Dylan, diving was more than a hobby, it was a shared passion. That Christmas, they received new diving gear as gifts, and they couldn't wait to test it out. What better way to break it in than with an unforgettable dive? But there was one problem. Dylan, though eager and adventurous, wasn't a certified diver. And while Darren had been diving for 9 years, he lacked the specialized training needed for cave diving. His friend, Robert Brooks, a certified cave diver, had repeatedly warned him about the dangers of underwater caves, urging him to take proper courses. But Darren had a thrill-seeker's spirit, always pushing his limits. Ignoring every warning, he chose to take his son into one of the deadliest dive sites on the planet, Eagle's Nest Sinkhole. The Mount Everest of cave diving. Nestled deep in Florida's Chassahowitzka Wildlife Management Area, 60 miles north of Tampa, Eagle's Nest Sinkhole is notorious among divers. Nicknamed the Mount Everest of diving, it plunges over 300 feet into darkness, a labyrinth of twisting tunnels and narrow passageways. This dive site was strictly reserved for highly trained cave divers, requiring full cave certification, experience with deep diving, and specialized gas mixtures to avoid nitrogen narcosis. At the entrance, a grim warning sign loomed. Stop. Prevent your own death. Go no further. Many experienced divers had perished here since 1981. But on that fateful Christmas morning, Darren and Dylan disregarded every sign, every warning, and every rule. They were going in. A dive into darkness. At 11 a.m., father and son suited up and descended into the sinkhole. The entrance was a 6-foot-wide vertical tube, dropping 70 feet straight down into an enormous cavern known as the ballroom, a space so vast it resembled an aircraft hangar. Armed with dive lights, they marveled at the otherworldly beauty around them. The cavern walls were lined with intricate limestone formations, the water was crystal clear, and the eerie silence made it feel as though they had stepped into an alien world. But they didn't stop there. Ignoring the ominous warning sign among the debris, they ventured deeper into one of Eagle's Nest's narrow tunnels, a twisting, claustrophobic passage meant only for expert cave divers with years of experience. At first, everything seemed fine. The water was calm, the dive smooth. But the deeper they went, the deadlier it became. The point of no return. As they descended to 233 feet, nitrogen narcosis, a condition that mimics extreme intoxication, began to set in. Disoriented and confused, they didn't immediately realize the most terrifying reality of all. Their oxygen was running out. Fast. At extreme depths, air is consumed much quicker. By the time Darren and Dylan realized their dire situation, it was already too late. Panicked, they tried to turn back, but navigating the winding tunnels in their disoriented state became an impossible task. Every second wasted meant less air. Every wrong turn brought them closer to death. And then, Dylan's oxygen ran out first. A father's final sacrifice. Desperate, Dylan signaled to his father for help. Darren, knowing his own air supply was critically low, made a split-second decision, one that would cost him his life. He connected his son's regulator to his own tank, sacrificing his remaining oxygen to keep Dylan alive, but his air ran out too quickly. As oxygen deprivation took hold, Darren lost consciousness, sinking to the depths of the ballroom. Dylan, still struggling to survive, tried to ascend toward the exit, kicking furiously toward the light above. He almost made it. At just 67 feet from the surface, Dylan blacked out. His lifeless body floated near the ceiling of the ballroom, painfully close to escape. A tragedy that could have been prevented. Back home, Darren's fiancée, Holly King, grew worried. She had called both Darren and Dylan's phones repeatedly. No answer. Panicked, she called family members, hoping someone knew where they were. Then, she drove straight to Eagle's Nest. She found Darren's car still parked by the water. Frantic, she jumped into the cave entrance, searching desperately, but there was no sign of them. At 7:30 p.m., she called the police. When authorities arrived, they spoke with a nearby hunter who had seen Darren and Dylan suiting up that morning. He recalled that by 6:30 p.m. their car was still there, but they were nowhere to be seen. The situation was clear. Something had gone horribly wrong. The Grim Discovery rescue divers, including Darren's friend Robert Brooks, entered the cave at 8:30 p.m. Robert, who had explored the cave many times before, knew exactly where to look. Just minutes into his descent, he spotted Dylan's body, suspended near the ceiling of the ballroom, just 67 feet from safety. A devastating sight. Further inside, 127 feet down on the ballroom floor, they found Darren's body. A father and son, unprepared for the dangers of cave diving, had lost their lives together. Robert later admitted that his friend was nowhere near ready for such an extreme dive. They lacked the proper gas mixtures to avoid nitrogen narcosis, and without the right equipment, they had no safe way to decompress before surfacing. It was a fatal mistake. A deadly lesson Eagle's Nest has claimed the lives of many experienced divers, but Darren and Dylan's story serves as a chilling reminder. Cave diving is not for the untrained. A single miscalculation, a moment of overconfidence, and the cave will not forgive you. They thought they were invincible, but Eagle's Nest took them both. If this story gripped you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most chilling true stories.